All right. Good morning, everyone. Can all of you hear me? All right, I hope so. Yeah, you can just put it into the chat session and whatnot. All right, yeah. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today in our step-by-step guide to implement SOLIDWORKS PDM, or a data management into your company. All right, yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy during this pandemic season. All right, yeah. So for today, our session will be presented by Draco, and I will be your moderator for today. All right, I'm JJ, if you guys don't know me. All right, so Draco is one of our very own at CADVision Systems. So he is a certified elite AE, or elite application engineer. All right, so yeah, hi, Draco, are you there?
JJ, yeah, good morning.
Yep. All right, yep. Hi, Draco. All right, yeah. So I'm not going to take up too much time. So I'll just hand over the floor to you.
All right.
All right, yep. So I'll just make you the presenter right now.
Thank you. So
yep.
Yeah.
All right, yep. So I'll leave it to you. Thank you, Draco.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. All right. So good morning, everyone. So I'm Draco Wong. So I'm the application consultant in CADVision system. So this I'm gonna talk about the how do we start your industry i4.0 data management journey with PDM, the product data management solution in from SolidWorks. Okay. So without further ado, let's start my webinar today. All right. So before I start on introducing our solution, just let us have a look on some of the industry challenges, okay, that we gathered from our customer, okay, and also some of the market survey from SolidWorks as well. This is basically on the industry challenges in data management. So let's take a look on some of the challenges here. Okay. So here we categorize our challenges in managing product data to 4 categories, which is starting from non-standard product development, process, and data. So how is this going through is when we are developing our design product data, okay, so maybe our CAD files or some of the engineering documents. So they might be don't have some standardized way of all the engineers who is doing. So it might cause the trouble, like sometimes I can't find where is the parts that my colleague design, okay, or there's some file conversion that I require to do, okay, so to make it usable for like other departments or maybe some downstream department, okay. So sometimes also because they don't have the standardized process of it, so the version control of the files might be confusing, okay. So some might cause the manufacturing to use a wrong version of data, okay. So the customer doesn't know what version that we produce on our data based on our CAD files. So these are some of the challenges that face in this area. So this will cause some losses to the company because sometimes we manufacture the wrong data by using the wrong data, okay. And we spend a lot of times to finding the data that we want, or maybe just doing some file conversion. So this, of course, this is not something what we want. This makes some challenges to the company to overcome this issue. Okay, so for the next challenge, will be the inability to share and use our product data within the company. So within our company, like maybe for the downstream departments, okay, so how for us to share the data, okay. So sometimes like I think previously, so I can't find the parts that my ex-colleague designed, okay, because they design locally in their computer, so I can't find out because after he left, then we can't find anymore the data or the parts that they design, okay. So maybe my colleagues also send the wrong version of parts or CAD data to me, or even to the downstream departments, for example, like the manufacturing or the maybe procurements, okay, so to get the wrong version of data. So of course, this will cause some losses, okay, because we are using the wrong data. Also, a lot of time when we are sharing data, so we are using emails. This is the most common tools to share our data. But sometimes emails can be lost, okay. So sometimes we lost the emails that contain the latest version, okay, that sent by my colleague or even I sent from us to send it out. Okay, so in this case, maybe we just wrongly use the previous version of data, and at the end result, it caused the losses as well. Also, the part numbering system in the company might be confusing if it's we are manually managing all the part number or the numbering system. So this will cause confusions and cause more times for us to share the data to the downstream department as well. So this is basically categorized in the inability to share the data or to use the product data within our own company for the downstream department or our colleagues. Okay, next is similar, but this time is the ability for us to share our data within the ecosystem partner, means that to our suppliers or to our customer. Okay, so I have to maybe convert my design, okay, to my customer so that they can read them, okay, or we need to remanufacture the part, or we need to wait the supplier to remanufacture the part because we send out the wrong data or they get the wrong design data, wrong version of design data. So they will cause delays and also losses to the company. Also, sometimes because we normally send out files by just maybe emailing, okay, especially to the suppliers or the vendors. Sometimes files may be too big, so we need to find some location for us to share the files, which is sometimes can be tedious or time consuming to do this. Okay, so this categorized in the inability to share the data or to use the product data with the ecosystem partner for our supplier or our vendors. And lastly, we are concerned about the security and the protection of our intellectual property. Of course, at all the time, we want to protect our intellectual property, especially this is a company intellectual property. So all our design, our CAD data, or any related data, okay, to the company or the intellectual property. So we don't want this to be leaked out, okay, so we want to secure it and to protect it in a secure place. So sometimes maybe the server is being hacked, okay, so and then the data might be leaked out. So maybe some of the design also is corrupted and we need to design again. So this is time consuming, and also we lost our data outside. And yeah, also sometimes it might happen that some ex-colleague might be leak out some of the design, okay, that will cause losses to the company. So we don't want this to be happen. We want to prevent this from happening. So we want to have to secure and protect our intellectual property. All right. So this is some of the challenges that faced by the industry, okay, in managing product data. Okay. So the next we're gonna talk about how do we gonna to tackle this and to start our I4.0 journey with the product data management. Okay, right. So let's go on to here on our solution of SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional. So this is our products or the solution to help our customer to manage their design data, their product data. So let's start with what is SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional? Well, this is the best, we can say this is the best product data management PDM solution for all the SOLIDWORKS users. And I believe most of us here today is a SOLIDWORKS user or the SOLIDWORKS user gonna be. Okay, so this will be the best PDM solution for all the SOLIDWORKS user. So it will help our user or customer to manage their engineering data. So like the version control, revision control of their engineering data, their CAD data, design data, okay, and to share their files. So this will help to increase the production rate, okay, because you don't need to spend your time, okay, on managing this tedious and complex work of managing data. So you can focus more on your design job, okay, or your more productive activities. And lastly, it can promote the design reuse. Okay, so sometimes we want to reuse our design. Okay, this PDM solution help us to find the data easily and to reuse it easily. So this will be the main capabilities of PDM professional here. Okay, to help our customer in managing their data. So there is also some bonus features here, where we are capable of working in a multi-CAD environments. Okay, so if we are working with other CAD software as well, we're able to help to manage this kind of CAD data, okay, from other software as well, or other CAD environment as well. So not only that, this will include our Microsoft Office documents like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and even PDF maybe, and also graphic files, images, videos as well, and basically any kind of window application file format. We help our customer as a one-stop and centralize all their data within this product data management solution. Okay, so they can store all their files, no matter you are from engineering departments or maybe like the sales department, procurements, okay, manufacturing, or all other departments can be used a centralized product data management solution to help manage our engineering data. Okay, so this is basically what is this SOLIDWORKS PDM professional. And here our solution here is to help in promoting or enhance the design collaboration, okay, in our design development workflow. So this is basically a typical design workflow, okay, a product development workflow. Okay, so we start from maybe designing, and then we submit the files for approval, then for customer approval, then CNC programming, manufacturing, QC and QA, and then the last for the maybe some engineering changes. So from here, the PDM solution come in to help to enhance this or to automate some of the process inside this typical design workflow. So for example, when we start from designing, okay, so we have some revision control, okay, to managing all the files, the version of the files. So after we done our design, okay, everything's, then we're going to submit for the approval for maybe the management level or maybe the engineering manager, okay. So here, especially during this time, maybe many of us is working from home, okay, so data sharings or to get approval might be difficult, or this might be time consuming. But here, when the engineer or designer submit their files for the manager for approval, we can automate this process by sending files electronically. So if we are working from home, so maybe we can send it through the internet, okay, so the manager will get some notification, so they can know that, okay, there's some files inside the system that need their approval, okay, so they can go to check for the files and get to approval. So this will streamline the communication or the collaboration process between the designer and also the management level. So next, after we submit the approval for our manager from designer, so maybe the manager now need to submit the files for the customer to approve. Okay, so they submit their files for the customer to approve. So many of the times, customer might be outside of our system. Okay, but through PDM, we can connect our customer into our system. Okay, so from here, we can send out some notification to the customer. Okay, so like an email notification to the customer, so that they know that there's some data already ready from us, that they can have a look and they can give their comments to it. So this enhances the collaboration between the customer and ourselves. And this not, okay, of course, not limited to just customer, maybe our supplier as well. So now basically you have an official customer approval on the system, on the same system. So they can collaborate or work together with us on the projects or all the design that we are working together. So after the customer approve our design or our data, now we're gonna do move or to transfer this kind of design data for the programming. So this 3D design data will provide input for the NC code generation, for example, okay, maybe for the CNC programming. So before we go to for the manufacturing. So because now we are sharing the same or transferring the same data, so this can be ensure the CNC departments are using the correct version of data. So we are no longer worried them using the wrong data because they are getting the correct data at the correct time. So after the CNC department or CNC programming departments done their job, and now we are prepared for the actual production. Similar, okay, so we can share this file seamlessly to the manufacturing department. Okay, so they will use the correct data for them to manufacture it. So we are no longer need to face a situation where we manufacture the wrong version of data, wrong version of design. So this can be ensure everything will be correct. So this will in terms reduce our scrap and rework job. So after the manufacturing, then the same design data going to be used by the QC and QA department for inspection before we send out for delivery. Same, all downstream departments here are using the same design data from the beginning or the correct version of data, okay, from the beginning. So now everyone's in the company is working together with the correct set of data. So sometimes after the delivery, maybe we're gonna go through some engineering change process. Okay, so we're gonna modify our design through some maybe ECO process. Okay, so we understand that the ECO process or engineering change process may be complex and complicated because here we're gonna involve a lot of departments. Okay, so we need to notify a lot of departments that this part or this model gonna be changed. Okay, so this can be complex and time consuming, and most of the time customer might tends to lose track on what is the progress of the engineering change process. So from here we can manage the ECO process or the engineering change process within the PDM system so that we can automatically notify all the stakeholder at the correct timing, okay, when we are doing some engineering change, and also help us to overview the progress or keep track on the progress of the engineering change process. In fact, it links all departments within the company when we have this kind of engineering change, so to prevent any mistake from happening, especially during the manufacturing process. All right, so this is basically how the PDMs able to help in a typical design workflow here. So next is some of the capabilities within this SOLIDWORKS PDM professional, okay, with this integrated and automated design platform that we provide to our customer. So there's a few capabilities here that I just go through briefly before I go to the actual PDM demo. Okay, so for the first one, of course, like what I mentioned just now, is the automated version control. So the user or the customer no need to worry again on managing the control. So this can be left to the system to manage our version. So we can focus on the design process here. So next, also of course, important things is to secure our data asset. So everyone in the system, you have their own login. Okay, so this will permit only the correct user to get the correct data at the correct timing. Okay, so also it will promote the data reuse, especially when we're gonna reuse back some of the data, old data, legacy data, okay, maybe from few years back. So we can easily search back or find back the data that we want. So from there, we can promote the data reuse, so we don't need to spend times again to redesign or recreate the data. We can just reuse back the legacy data, which enhance or shorten the development timing for us. Next will be a multi-site collaboration. Okay, so for especially some of us, many of our customers have branches in different locations. Okay, maybe from Singapore, Malaysia, China and also maybe Europe and US. So collaboration between different branches might be difficult, but here with managing all the data within a centralized centralized data system, so we allow the multi-site or enhance the multi-site collaboration here. Next will be the automated workflow for approval and tracking. Okay, so like what I mentioned, especially just now for the design collaboration workflow. So this will automate the workflow for the approval and also the tracking as well, as the history of the files which go through the whole design workflow. Next will be the data connectivity. So to help us to managing a file, especially on the referencing files, especially on all our bill of materials. So this will connect all the reference of the child part, okay, within the assembly files from SOLIDWORKS especially. So it connects all the files here. So and to maintain all this data connectivity. And lastly, of course, this is a web connected where help our customer to collaborate, especially when we are working in different location or maybe we are not in the same office. So this web connection, okay, allow us to collaborate seamlessly, okay, when we are working in different location. All right. Next, I'm going to present to you guys some of the actual PDM, how the PDM is going to work in a design scenario. Okay, so let me go to my PDM interface. So here we are now in the PDM interface, SOLIDWORKS PDM interface, which is very similar to Windows Explorer, as you can see here. So this is to give the familiar interface to our user so that they can get into the system easier and faster. And this will give the company a faster ROI when investing to the system. So we don't spend some months or years to implement just a system here. So this will provide the fast ROI to the company so they can make use of the solution faster. So now I'm going to simulate a scenario where I create a new project and create some design data into it and to submit the data for approval. Okay, so for now, I will create a new project here. So from the PDM system, it helps us to automate to create the new projects, especially on the file folder structures. Okay, so this will standardize all the folders that we're going to use. And of course, also to help us to number the system, the numbers of project as well. So here we just key in some, maybe some of the information about this project. So I just key in my project name, customer, and I can specify my project manager here. So maybe I just select a user here and some of the information about my project here. Okay, so after I'm done, I just click OK. So the system will automatically create a structure or define structures, okay, of the folders inside the PDM. Okay, so for example here, now I have my 01 projects folder here with all the information that I key in just now, so that you can refer to it easily later on in the future as well. And within it, you have to already create the structure of the folders that we have here. So all the users will follow the same structure here, so they can put in their related files into the correct folders here. So when we need to find back all the design or all the data, so it can be easily keep track. And this will also help to when we are doing audit, as we have this structure or organized method of structure for folder structure, will help us in when we are doing audit, okay, in the future. So next, I'm going to put in some files to the folder here, some of my design files. So from here, we can save the files directly from maybe SOLIDWORKS or other Microsoft software as well. We can save directly to here, just an normal folder, or we can just copy and paste the data to here. So for example, here I just copy and paste some of my data here directly. So this will move on some of the my data inside. So now I'm putting an assembly to the system here, and some of the document as well. So next, I will check in my system, I mean my data to the server, so that it can share to all the user within the system. So when I'm putting this to the server, the system will automatically conserve all the reference within these assembly files. Okay. And I just check in. So all the user in the system will get the same data. And also the documents file as well here. All right. So from here, PDM gives us some capabilities here at below. Okay, to utilize the CAD data here. So for example, when we want to share our file, especially to different or downstream departments, so we can share this directly, and they can preview, the downstream department can preview all this data even without having the SOLIDWORKS. So they can have the 3D preview here directly, so that they can have some get more insight about the CAD models that we are designing. So they can have some exploder view or even make some measurement from here. Okay, so this will enhance the collaboration or ease the data sharing process between the downstream departments or even to our manager. Okay, so this preview tab gives the downstream departments an early insight of our design here. So next will be some information, or we call it a data card in the system, where it gives you the information or the intelligence data or the custom properties of this assembly. So this can be extracted from the CAD file directly, and we can populate this data back to the CAD files. So especially when we want to use it in our title block of the drawing files. So all this data is can be linked, okay, and populate back to the CAD files directly. So for example, especially some of the data like drawn by who, okay, engineered by who, and then checked by, approved by, this can be populated automatically back to the CAD data as well. So the engineers no need to spend their time to update all their title block, because all this is already linked to the data card here. And all this data we can utilize later, okay, when we want to search for our files in the future. Okay, next will be some of the bill of materials. So the system will automatically capture the connectivity of all the reference file within this assembly and come up with the bill of material. So this bill of material can be later on shared towards like to export as an CSV file, okay, which is open inside the Excel. So this will promote or to ease the sharings the bill of material to the downstream department, especially maybe the manufacturing or maybe the procurement departments. Okay. Also here, the values tab give us the information of where this data is being used. So for example, this new rod end part here is being used in different configuration of the assembly. So this is for us when we are want to changing some data, we can have the information of where this data is being used and what is the impact when we are changing the data. So this will ease the engineering change process. Also here, when we are doing some changes to the data, so the version control can be keep or maintain automatically. So for example here, I want to make some modification to the files here, the assembly files here. So I just check out or reserve the files for me. So in PDM, we only allow one user to modify the files. So this can be prevent any duplicate files or overwritten of data in the system. So of course, we don't want our data to be overwritten, okay, by other user, okay, when we are doing it. So PDM can be perfectly prevent this from happening. So for now here, I make some changes to the description here, or we can make changes to the files, okay, to the design, everything, all the changes. So for this webinar purpose, I just make some changes at the data card here, and I will save it. So the version control will be up automatically. So the green logo here shows us that this design have been updated. So when we check in back the data to the system, so we can give a comment, okay, to indicate what is the changes that we have done to the model here. So for example, here I modify the description, and I just check in back. So the system will automatically increase the version for us. So it will keep track on all the changes that we have done to the files. And we can easily keep track on the history of the files of what changes that we have been made. So especially on who done the changes and what's the changes that we have done. We can specify it in the comment section here. So this will help us to have a full audit trail, okay, of the files of the CAD models here. And we can easily keep track or reuse back the previous version data from here by just getting back the previous version CAD data, or even other type of data as well. So now I have done all the changes that I need to make. So next I'm going to submit the files for approval. Okay, so for now I can submit the files directly from here. Yes, I just submit the files for approval. So all the user inside the system will follow a standardized workflow, okay, of maybe approval process. So from here I can notify the my manager here, Mark, and I can give them some notification here, like maybe please check. And the comment here maybe is initial design. So my manager will get email notification, for example, like this, some email notification directly in their email inbox. Okay, so this can be linked directly to the files or the location of the files. So this can also be done, send out the email notification to our customer as well, so that they can know there's some files now, or they can check for now. So from here, maybe after the manager or the customer already approved the design, so they can approve the design directly from here by just changing state to pass the approval, or they can access the file directly, okay, from a web browser, for example here. So this will be a team client for PDM, so where they can access their data. Okay, so I just log in again, directly from a web browser. So for example, this is the folders that I created just now, okay, and all the files that I have inside. So they can directly approve the files from here, especially when they don't have the access to the server. Okay. So from here, after checking, so we can approve the files. So from here, we can give it a comment here, approve. So we can key in maybe some password here, okay, so to have some authentication when we are approving files, and we can notify back the user again. And just okay. So now the files will be getting approved following the state here, and it will increase the revision automatically. Okay, so this is a revision 1. Okay, once we approve. Okay, so we also can have some automated tasks, for example, like printing of PDF. Okay, when we are doing this kind of workflow process. So now we have a official revision 1 of the data. Okay, so at the history, okay, we have the full trail of what happening to the files directly. So this will be a typical process on how we're going to manage or submit the files inside a design workflow, development design workflow. Okay, so well, this is basically a brief demo, okay, on the PDM itself. Okay, so we continue here. So next, we got to go some case study from our customer. Okay, so on their feedback or testimonial. Okay, when after they implement this system in their company. Okay, so the first one will be a medical equipment R&D center in Singapore. Okay, so we are not gonna disclose the company name here, but this is a leader in the precision medicine dedicated medicine equipment manufacturer. Okay, so to make some early diagnosis, okay, for their patient, and their challenges is that requires to comply with the FDA requirements, and also to help them reduce the time, cost, and also increase their process efficiency. So they need to have a system to help them to acquire this kind of compliance or regulation. Okay, so they also need to collaborate with the multi-site, especially when in Singapore, China, and also different branches across the world. Okay, so after implementing PDM system, we successfully helped them to certify with FDA 21 CFR Part 11 and also ISO 13485 regulation or standard. So we help them to streamline their global development to production process, by helping them to reduce their design cycle time by 40 to 60%. Because here we enhance their collaboration within multi-site, and at the same time maintain the compliance with all these standard. So next is another contract manufacturing service provider in Singapore as well. So where this company provides some of the contract manufacturing services and expand through like research, design, and development to manufacturing. Okay, so their challenges will be to establish a standardized design process, because they have a lot of users here in their company. So they will try to design standardize their design process, and in turn, you help them to reduce wastage and also enhance communication with the downstream department. So by implementing a SOLIDWORKS PDM solution in their company, so this helps them to improve their tracking on their revision and also version update, so they can ease the communication or file sharing to the downstream department, which in turn help them to reduce scrap and rework by 20% and reduce their project delay by 30%. This also provides the ability for them to integrate with the ERP system, especially how a PDM system can easily transfer the bill of material information to the ERP system. Okay, next will be some of the global case study here. Okay, so from SOLIDWORKS itself. Okay, so for example, this is Oyster North America, which is a manufacturer of high efficiency packaging and filling machinery. So they are trying to speed up their development process, especially on this complex design, to support the growth while simultaneously boosting their machine performance. Okay, so what improvement they have done after implementing the PDM system is they're able to reduce their design cycle time by 50 to 60%. And in turn, this accelerate their production rate or production throughput tenfold in some cases. And this cut their configurable design time. Okay, means that similar design from weeks to days. And lastly, here is the Mundus Corporation. Okay, where they are doing some air treatment solution. Okay, so their challenges is to have a data management system, okay, to connect their design groups on multiple locations, Sweden, China, and also some locations in US. So here we help them to streamline their development process, the global development process, by increasing the design reuse worldwide, because all the designer or user across the world can use the same data, and improve their repeatability and also product quality by 80%. Okay, so this reduce their design check-in errors by 25%, and also 40% in their number of ECO, engineering change. And this in turn help them to realize a more efficient resource utilization within their company by collaborating the user from different locations across the world. Okay, so this will be some of the end of my presentation here by a summary of SOLIDWORKS PDM professional. So where this is a help the user to securely store and index their design data for fast retrieval. Okay, so they to promote the design reuse, and also eliminate the concern about version control and data loss. Okay, so you no longer to worry about your design or data corrupted or data losses. And also to help to share and collaborate on design, okay, with people inside and outside of the organization in multiple locations. And lastly, it helps to provide an electronic workflow to formalize, manage, and optimize their development process, document approval process, and also engineering change process. All right, so this is basically my presentation or my webinar sharings of product data management solution from SOLIDWORKS. So I'll hand it over back to you, JJ.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Draco, for the sharing. Yeah. We do have some questions today. All right. So yeah, we'll now be entering our Q&A session. Yeah, but before I go into each of these, I would just like to say thank you so much for attending, right? Yeah, and at the end of the session, we will have a survey, and after you have completed the survey and whatnot, we will actually be giving out a cash voucher. All right, yeah, we for SOLIDWORKS PDM itself. Yeah, so yeah, be sure to complete the survey, and we'll be actually sending you a cash voucher in an email format later on. All right, yeah, so let's dive into our Q&A session right now. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions for Draco or for myself, yeah, or for our team, yeah, you can actually just put it into the question panel and we'll be addressing them. All right, yep, so our first question for today is from Mok Hon Yong. All right, yep, so he is asking, for those working from home, what will be the recommended approach without the office network? Going through VPN, or can we use TeamViewer to remote into the office network to retrieve the data from the PDM vault?
Yeah, using VPN is a solution to get access to the text server, okay, from PDM. Or another choice is like what I have showing you guys just now, by accessing your data through the web browser. So this is a require a web tool function, okay, from PDM itself, where allow the user to access to their PDM work when they are not inside the office.
Yeah, so they will be actually using internet itself. They can access it from home using web tool, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right,
so they need to access directly to their office network, because we know sometimes by using VPN, this might cause some lagginess or delays. Okay, but using the internet to directly get into these web tool services from PDM, it can allow you to access to your data directly. Of course, it's a thin server from the web tool, so there's might be some limited function here. But basically, all the basic function of like check in, check out, or changing state, or getting the data is always available inside this web tool.
I see. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Draco. Yeah. So same question from Mok Hong Young as well would be, yeah, what are the recommended hardware requirements or server requirements in this case?
Yeah, basically, typical server is sufficient to support for the PDM usage. But of course, we can share more details of server requirements to you, Mr. Mok, okay, later on. So we can get in touch on this one, so we can share more details on the server requirements to you.
All right, yeah. I think this one is more of a feedback. Yeah, so he mentioned that a lot of SMEs are short of its members, so therefore it will be good to have a proposal of these bundle solutions. Yeah, I believe our cash voucher later on will also be applicable for bundle solutions. Yeah, so you guys can look forward for that. All right. Yeah, and last question from Mr. Mock. Yeah, if our customer requires our SolidWorks files to be accessed by them, okay, out of PDM and out of the designated workflow, what are the ways to copy or duplicate out the required files for external non-PDM users or customers? Yeah, for them to do their codes or whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, so of course they can get you can copy out the design data directly out from PDM, just a normal copy and paste method. Of course, also another way is like by using the web tool just now, so they can just get access to this PDM directly, so they can get to the correct data or the correct version of data directly. So of course, we need to give some access to the customer or other users which is not inside PDM, but we just give them some to link them inside the PDM system now, so that we can collaborate seamlessly together. Of course, this requires them to have some license on the PDM, but of course, one benefits of PDM is we can share the license. Okay, so maybe for the customer, they just need to get access to the system for a while, so we can just share our license for them, just maybe half an hour or maybe 1 hour, so that they can download their files directly from the PDM just now, for the PDM web tool just now.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Mark, for all the questions as well. All right. Yeah. So we have another question from Madan Pushpaka. All right. Yeah. So you mentioned about a case study about supporting 21 CFR compliance. All right. Can you explain how PDM can help to get the certification? Is there a standard workflow or module that can help to get the e-documentation process ready for the audit process?
Okay, so we can say there's like no software is like FDA certified, or this is depending on how we set the system. Okay, for this case study, of course, along with this customer, we set the system with them. We work closely together with this customer, okay, to get all the requirements that needed by these compliance, especially like the FDA or ISO. So this is how we depends on how we configure the system to meet all these requirements, and at the same time to meet your company requirements on managing data. Okay, so normally we will have some implementation process that we work closely with our customer to get them to certify on this compliance. So I can say there's like no standard module or standard configuration that we're going to set, but of course we can, but we will configure the system based on the compliance requirements or the standard requirements, and together with your company requirements together. Okay, so to help the customer to get the certification of all these standard or compliance.
I see. So we are able to cater for each organization processes in this case, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you, Draco. Yeah, and thank you, Madan. All right. Yeah, we have one question from Angelito. Yeah, Angelito.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Is it possible to automate SolidWorks 2D drawings conversion to PDF and digitally signed as an output of a workflow?
Yeah, this is definitely possible. So within PDM, we already have some tasks that we can automate. For example, like what you say, from printing the 2D drawing to PDF files, and we can input in the signature inside, like the username inside. So some help of add-in as well. So we can input the actual signature, okay, to the drawing itself.
All right. Yep. I hope that answers your question. All right. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Yep. From the floor. Yep. You're welcome, Angelita. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Yeah, any other questions from the floor? All right. We are almost coming to an end to our webinar session. Yeah, right. Yeah, so but if you have any other questions or any follow-up questions that you'd like to understand, you can actually write into us at info@CADVision.com.sg. Yeah, or you can just give us a call. All right, we have one last question. Yeah, from Sin Ping Yep. All right, yep. So with regards to sharing of data to vendors or suppliers, I would assume there is no issues with geographical licenses.
I'm not really sure what is
I think maybe what I can further elaborate is when we are sharing the data to vendors or suppliers, perhaps sometimes they are out of Singapore, for
yeah,
example.
definitely. Yeah, definitely for PDM, yes, no problem or no issue on that one.
I see. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Sin Ping Yap. All right. Yeah. So yep. Thank you. All right. Yep. Good. Welcome. All right. Yep. So yeah, as I mentioned, you can just write into us, or you can actually just call your local sales account managers, or actually even Zenglit. Okay, Zenglit. I believe most of you may be familiar with him as well, or Draco. Yep. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining today. Yeah. So after the session, you'll be actually guided to a survey. All right. And yeah, once you've completed that, we'll actually be sending you an email with your voucher, your cash voucher. All right, that you can utilize later on. All right. Yep. So thank you so much for joining today. Yep. Thank you, Draco, for the presentation and for your time.
Yeah, welcome.
All right. Yep. So yeah, hope you guys continue to stay safe in this in the current situation. Yep. All right. Yeah, and we hope to see you guys soon. All right. Thank you and goodbye. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Draco.